Okay, Yom Sheni. First of all, today's Monday, and it's Erev Tisha B'Av. Ches Menachem. Ches Menachem on Erev Tisha B'Av. So everybody knows, I'm sure, that it says in Sfarim. First of all, it says in Halacha that Tisha B'Av is called a Moyed. Tisha B'Av, you don't say Tachnun. And Tisha B'Av, you don't say Tachnun because it's a din of a Yom Tov. It's a din of a Moyed. Kora Alai Moyed. It's a pasuk. What kind of Yom Tov is Tisha B'Av? It's a Yom Tov Hashem Ha'asit. It's a Yom Tov based on the future. But I guess when something is, usually you can't celebrate something that hasn't happened yet. You know, someone who's going to win the lottery tomorrow doesn't know. And even if he believes, but until the money's in your pocket, I always tell people there's only two types of money. There's not my money and your money. That's not true. There's money which is in my pocket and money which is not in my pocket. That's it. If your money is in my pocket, it's mine. If my money is in your pocket, it's yours. I know that that's true, but psychologically that's very true. But let's not talk about money. It's a very uncomfortable subject. But something which hasn't happened, Tisha B'Av is such an acute event that it's a moyed based on the Yosef. And of course, the Rebbe points out that Minche, Yom Kippur, Tisha B'Av we say Nachem. Besides for saying Anenu, which we say in every fast day, we also say Nachem. And Nachem is from the word Nechama, to console. And the Rebbe says that the reason you say Nachem, Tisha B'Av and Mincha in the afternoon is because that's the Leda of Mashiach. Mashiach is born Tisha B'Av in the afternoon. There's an inyan of Mashiach on Tisha B'Av. So spiritually, every year on Tisha B'Av, there is a Leda of Mashiach. There's a birth of Mashiach. And Vestach mentioned Rechanen, that the year the Rebbe was born was a Nibiyar. If it's a Nibiyar from Tisha B'Av, Yiralf Nissen is exactly 9 months. Vesta? People, as you think about it, it works out. The Rebbe was born to Afresh Samach Beis. It was a Nibiyar, it was a Libya, 2 others. If you had an extra other, so it works out that Yiralef Nissen is exactly 9 months after Tisha B'Av. So this is another reason for us to be excited about the Rebbe. But we want B'Poyel and not B'Koyach. So the Rebbe discusses this idea that Tisha B'Av is latest Mashiach. Tafshin Nun Aleph, the Rebbe spoke about this. You know, Tafshin Nun Aleph, the Rebbe came in before Ma'ariv and spoke a Sikha. After Ma'ariv, the Rebbe started to sing that his father's Akofas Nign on Tisha B'Av, which is very, very transforming. It's a whole nother Tisha B'Av. It's a Tisha B'Av with a perspective that's looking forward as opposed to a Tisha B'Av which is looking back. So the Rikir Kol HaIkrimi is a Mashiach Zol Kumam B'Peil Mamish. You know, the Rebbe spoke a Sikha once. Pedei lekimes Yisrael mikol tzareisav, v'hu yifteh Yisrael mikol avineisav. And that means as follows. Yeah, I have a siddur here. There's 2 things that come together. And these 2 things that come together, people don't even realize that they're 2 things. One is called vidui, and the other is called tachnun. One is called vidui, one is called tachnun. Vidui is ashamnu bagadnu gezalnu dibanu, confession. Tachnun means to plead, tchina, to plead with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when you do tachnun, not when you do vidui. Now, I don't know what women do in the Bible show, but in the men's show, you put your head down, you do Nefilas Apayim. And according to Chassidus, according to Kabbalah, Nefilas Apayim is Mesiras Nefesh. It's giving your life. Nefilas Apayim is higher than Shmones. And Nefilas Apayim you do when you say tachnun. And there's different minhagim what you say. The Misnagdim say, Vayem Udav Del God, the Racham V'chanan. We say what the Misnagdim say, what the Ashkenazim say in Slichas. But our Tachnun is Ledovid. Right? So you have 2 things. You have Vidui, which is the top of the page. Yashamnu, Bagadnu, we sinned. I'm sorry for being cynical. I take it back. I'm not cynical. It's easy to say. But then we have Hashem, Kil Racham V'chanan. That's not Vidui. That's Tachnun. That's pleading. When you say Tachnun, you fall on your face and you say Ledavid. Ledavid is capital, I think it's Chavhei and Tilim. It's a psalm. It's a whole capital Tilim that we read whenever we do Tachnun and what's called the Filas Apayim. Yes, it is capital Chavhei and Tilim. But we add a pasuk that doesn't say capital Chavhei and Tilim, from someplace else. I think it's from Psalm 130, from Shir HaMalas Mi Mamakim. I knew a man who was a PhD, 3 or 4 different PhDs. That's how smart he was. And one of his PhDs, or 2 of his PhDs, were in literature. When he was in school, you're talking about a very high madrege in literature. They used to say when he went to school, it's worth to learn ancient Hebrew just to say Psalm 130 in the original. In other words, this is the epitome of Chochmas Chitzenius. Klipa, 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 klipa. That means seichel with no God, no God, no God, no God, no God. But the kop, but their head. It's worth to learn Lashon Kodesh to be able to say Shir Hamalis Mimamakim, which we say in Daseresim Tshuva, half asleep, in the original Hebrew, which we say Daseresim Tshuva, Shir Hamalis Mimamakim. Goyim, Goyishkeit, the essence of Goyishkeit says this translation won't do. You got to learn Lashon Kodesh just to say these 8 psukim. Mimamakim Kasicha Hashem. I heard this from a Yid who's totally steeped in that world. Anyway, but when we do Tachnun every day, we add this pasuk from the end of Psalm 130. So the David Elach is Psalm 25, Kapitel Chavhei in Tehillim, and we add one pasuk. So if you look in your Siddur, you'll see that every pasuk has an Aleph, Beis, Gimel. It's more or less an alphabet. There's 1 or 2 letters missing. The last pasuk is Chav Beis, and then the next one doesn't have a number. Did you ever notice that? I did. Why? Because it's in someplace else. You understand? This is a Kapitel Tehillim, and we add one pasuk from someplace else. I don't know who put that extra pasuk there, but the Rebbe said, "Don't you hear what's going on? There's a shaila, yeah? When's Mashiach coming? When's Mashiach coming?" And the teretz is, "When you'll be ready." So the Rebbe says, "P'dei Elokim es Yisrael mikol tzeresav." The Eibusha should redeem Yidden for all the tzars, which means Mashiach should come. V'hu, then we add from someplace else. V'hu yiftes Yisrael mikol avei Esav. After Mashiach comes, he'll fix up all of our averis. In other words, the taina is that Mashiach can't come until Yidden do tshuva. So when we say Tachnun every single day, we say, redeem us, and Mashiach will come, we'll do tshuva afterwards. This is the old story. You know, Avram Fried has a song which I happen to love because of the Teichen. And it's based on a Medrash, and it's also based on one of the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov from the Balaflo, the Balaflo. That there's a Medrash that says that there is a debate between Yidden and the Eibishter. What is the debate? The debate is Shuva Elai v'Shuva Aleichem. The Eibishter says, "Return to me, and I will return to you." And we say to the Eibishter, "Hashiveinu Hashem Elecha v'Nashuva." You understand? The Eibishter says to us, "You come to me, and it's the same. Every marriage, all our problems will be solved. Just listen to me." And the other person says, "All our problems will be solved. Just listen to me." And that's the standoff right there. What's the problem? Why are you so stubborn? So the Eibishter says, "Shuva Elai v'Shuva Aleichem." The Yidden should do tshuva, and then the Eibishter will come to us. And we say, "Hashiveinu Hashem Elecha v'Nashuva," that the Eibishter should come to us. So then the way this is a medrash. I looked up the medrash actually. In the record where he has this song, he has the source. So part of it's a medrash, and part of it is from the Balaflo. The Balaflo wrote a sefer on Chumash called Ponim Yafes. It's brought to Chassidus. Ponim Yafes, and someplace in the Ponim Yafes, I think, I'm almost sure he has this word. So how do you paskin this? How do you resolve this impasse? It's a very simple solution. Look in the Torah. The Eibusha gave us the Torah, yeah? So what does it say in the Torah when there's an argument? So the whole niggin is Yochid v'Rabbi v'Lochid v'Rabbi. The Eibishter is one. And that's what's great about the Eibishter, that he's one, yeah? And we're many. And that's what's great about the Yidden, that they're many. What's the halacha? When one argues with many, the many are winning. And the din is beferish, that if there's many who say kach, and one who says kach, and everybody knows that the one is greater than the many. Everybody knows that the one is on a high. Faket, the reason he's disagreeing is because Layardul will say daita, he's so smart, nobody understands what he understands. But the halacha is dafka like the rabbim, achad rabbim mahatis. That's, if every Fried has a niggin on this, yochid v'rabbim halacha k'rabbim. And this is what we say every day. And the Rebbe spoke about this very emotionally. That you can wait for Yidden to do tshuva. Okay, they've come, but don't plenty tshuva. Like the Rebbe brought 101 times in the Siches, that in our generation, after the Holocaust, the idea of Shemeh, Hira, Tshuva, Belieba is like, there's not a Yid in our time, says the Rebbe, that didn't have a Hira, Tshuva. And the halacha is, Makadesh Isha, Hariat Makadesh Li. Right, you know this. Amanas Shani, Tzadik Gomer. And everybody knows he's a Rasha Gomer. Harezim bekudeshes, farot, shem, hir, tshuva belibei. Tshuva kemetan in arega, b'shaita chado, b'riga chado. Tshuva is one of those mitzvahs that doesn't have zman. Right? Every mitzvah has a shear. There's a shear. How big a piece of matzah, how quickly you have to eat it. If you want to sit in the sukkah and make a bracha, leisha b'sukkah, how long do you have to stay in the sukkah to be able to make a bracha? What are you going to do in the sukkah? Every mitzvah has a shear. Tshuva has no shear. It takes time, but there's no minimum time, you understand? The Rebbe, the Meister of the Rebbe, the Rebbe told over the story. The Rebbe, the Friedrich was in Germany, someplace. And the leaders of the Kehillah were on the train seeing the Rebbe off. And the Deutschen, the Germans are so precise. So one of them looked at his watch. And the Rebbe told the story by Fabrengen. That's how I know the story. It's printed in the Sichas. Nach geblieben eine Minute, he says, in Yiddish, German. There's 1 minute till the train leaves. So the Friedrich Rebbe retorts, Kemen arayin chappen ton tshuva. Because tshuva takes no time. Kemen arayin chappen ton tshuva. Tshuva takes no time. There's no shear for tshuva. And of course, there's a deeper element to this, of course, that besides the fact that tshuva takes no time, tshuva defies time. Why? Because tshuva corrects the past. The whole union of tshuva is that I'm not a sinner. I never sinned. I never sinned. Avedas are erased retroactively. I told you the story, Kama Paman. L'kavod Erev Tisha B'Av. I want to teach you Tanya, but L'kavod Erev Tisha B'Av. I'll just tell you this ma'aseh, that ich habe es gehört von Rabbi Fuchs, who knew this person personally. So gewen a Yidin Poile geheißen Berel Kurnitzer. Harav Berel Kurnitzer. Berel, his last name was Garfinkel. Berel Kurnitzer was a Tomim. He went to Lubavitch. He was a Tomim. I explain the word Tomim. It's like explain the word Malach. It's a word, hakelvei. You say Tomim, it's enough. You don't have to say anything you're going to say afterwards is going to diminish. He was a big Yirei Shamayim and a big Chassid and a big, very bottle to the Rebbe, alle Sachen, but he was also a Moedendik Alamdi. And his thing was that everything has to be recorded to memory. He wanted the Baruch to know everything by heart. Because he knew everything by heart. And he just knew the whole Shas. He just knew it by heart. And it was fresh and it was on the tip of his tongue. Rabbi Fuchs, I was Rabbi Fuchs's class. Rabbi Fuchs used to put his finger on a page in the Gemara, we learned Baba Basa, and turn 75 pages later and tell you what word was underneath. You imagine I had such a malamet? I had such a malamet. I was 10. The biggest Masechta. He put his finger like this. He would look at the page and tell you what word is on his finger, and he was right. Thus it says like a letter from Battle Court. I had such a malamed. And you know what my Talmidim have? I don't want to tell you what my Talmidim have. But I can't do that trick. That trick I can't do. There's a couple other things I can't. Stell sich vor, ich gehabt das malamed. Was hat malamed hat gehabt? Anyway, Battle Court never got married. Because he had tuberculosis on his lungs. And he was a time bomb. That's how they looked at it. That one day he's going to come back and fight it. He suffered a lot because of it. And he lived in Poland, and in Poland there was a very poor country, and the medicines was very difficult to get. And the Friedrich Rebbe's oldest daughter, the Rashag's Rebbetzin, her name was Chana, took care of him. She doted on him. She had this in her. She was very maternal. She took care of people. She took care of the Friedrich Rebbe also. And she would go into him, and she would ask him how he was doing, and she would also bring in medicines and foods that he needed for his illness. Amongst the things that he needed for tuberculosis, I mean, I know about tuberculosis, you know about Pluto, was oranges, citrus fruits, and cream, which were both cream from milk, both of which were difficult to get in Poland, and she has to bring it to him. So she comes into him one day to bring him what he needed for his health. So he says to her, I had a dream and I saw the Rebbe meaning her father, not the Rebbe Rashab, her father, the Friedrich Rebbe. And in the dream, the Tata gesagt am Maimer Chsidis, Refoenu ad Hashem ve'erof, which is a pasuk in Yeshaya. And he tells her, Ich hab the Maimer. I remember it. I remember the Maimer. Now, just to give you an erich, the Tzemach Tzedek had an uncle whose name was from the Vetter Yossel in Lubavitch. And again, a few generations before Berel Kurnet said, yeah? He was the Tzemach Tzedek's uncle because of a second marriage. He was a big Gaon, a big chassid. And here the Tzemach Tzedek used to learn together b'chavrusa. And the Tzemach Tzedek said that he should be Rebbe, that the Vetter Yosel was sein Rebbe, he was older than him. And the Vetter Yosel getained that the Tzemach Tzedek was sein Rebbe. Anyway, here again they learned together in Yinyan. It was after the Mittler Rebbe passed away, and they had a kasha without a teretz. And at night they both dreamt that the Alter Rebbe walked into the Chavrusa as they were learning and answered the question. So the Vetter Yosel gets up in the morning. Ik ben a tzaddik ayid, be'emes a tzaddik, nit b'shem amush. And he walks into the Tzemach Tzedek, and on the table is sitting already, ungeschrieben, written the Hanocha of the teretz that the Alter Rebbe had given them during the night. But the Vetter Yosel remembered the dream, but he didn't remember the teretz. He didn't remember what the Alter Rebbe said. And he walks into the Tzemach Tzedek, and the answer is already written up. And of course, once he saw it, it came back to him. So the Vetter Yosel says to the Tzemach Tzedek, "Nu, wer darf sein Rebbe?" You understand? The uncle says to the nephew, "You tell me." Now you fast forward 4 generations later. A Tomim heard a maimed in a cholim when it hot him. So you understand what's made Tomim nicht poshet in ganz. So she comes home and she tells her father the story. And again, I heard this from my folks who knew he was Dibishas Maise. I went into Belo Kurnitze, who was not well. He was called the Boichen in the yeshiva. He had a very important position in Simcha Pimim and Otforz. Belo Kurnitze at the gates, Mishpacha Mikven Garfinkel. And he told me that he had a dream and he saw the Rebbe, that means you, and that the Rebbe said a maime, a finish of Eirafi, and that had the maime. So the Friedrich Rebbe asks her, had the maime? He remembers what I said. She says, had the maime. Zola gehen noch einmal zum doctor. The Friedrich says he should go back again to the doctor. So he goes back to the doctor, they do an x-ray, there's no tuberculosis. Fini, gone. But wait, that's not the end of the story. The doctors were so taken aback, they took out the old x-rays. And they were gone from the old x-rays. He was never sick. He was sick. He was this is the Rebbe Tamal gesagt, der Verbringen, a shit Rogatchover, many times. The Rogatchover said there's different types of medicine. Usually medicine heals you that you're not sick anymore. But the Rogatchover writes as a medicine, the Lei Shchiach, it's not so widely known, that it heals you in such a way that you were never sick. Which is in your tshuva, right? There's tshuva tator and tshuva law, and it's connected to nedarim, hafadas nedarim and atadas nedarim, as we always know from Chassidus. Tshuva works that you never did the Aveda. That's the Chayach tshuva. It's part we say tshuva doesn't take any time. So first of all, it takes no time to do tshuva. And the tshuva defies the phenomena of time that what happened yesterday didn't happen. So the Rebbe says, Pedei lekim mitzvah mikol tzaresa. First of all, the Gula should come, Mashiach should come. Hashiveinu havaya elecha v'nashuva. And then noch we add from Psalm 130, from Kapitel Kuf Lamed and Tilim, v'hu yiftes yisrael v'kol avenis. Okay, so the Rebbe should help us learn the Poel Mamish.